Rob's gone?
Yeah. Let us bring the City of Spartanburg City Council meeting to order. We will stand for a moment of silence and be led by the pledge by our Mayor Pro Tem. Amen.
Amen.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before I go any farther, Councilman Rain had a conflict with tonight, with this being on a Tuesday night, that he couldn't miss. He's out of the state, actually. So, item 3, approval of the minutes for the January 13th, 2025 City Council meeting.
So moved. Second.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
Any that oppose? Ayes have it. Approval of the agenda for the January 28th, 2025 City Council meeting.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Have public comment. We do have one. The way public comment works, you will have 2 minutes once the time starts. When you come up, please give us your name and your address, and your 2 minutes starts after that. And Mr. Kumar, would you please come on up?
Hello, my name is Madhav Kumar, and I live at 206 Cart Drive. So I've lived in Spartanburg pretty much my whole life, and in the last 30 years, we've seen, obviously, a ton of growth. And as a part of that growth, I think something that everyone here has experienced has been that increase in traffic. And so because of that, I would just like to sort of make a case or a plea to, for our city to think about investing in our public transportation resources, in particular buses. This is something that I feel very passionate about. I think that it would help reduce the amount of traffic that we all experience every day. It would help us to be more connected with our city. Obviously, this wouldn't be a cheap project, but I think given our city's track record recently with like the courthouse and the upcoming project in Daniel Morgan, I think we're fully capable of taking on these complex civil engineering and infrastructure projects. And I think we could do a great job. And just to sort of wrap it up, we're the hub city. That history comes from trains, obviously, efficient modes of transportation in and out of the city. And I think that investing in buses as our public transportation would help us really embody the spirit of being the hub city and moving people efficiently within our city. So yeah, that's my case. I hope you guys consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We have no other public comments. Thank you. Now, item 6, we're gonna recognize a couple of retirees from Spartanburg Police Department. Hate to see any of them go, right, Chief? Hate to see especially you good ones. They've earned their time. So with that, I'm gonna ask Lieutenant Alan Bledsoe to come forward. You guys come on up, take as many pictures you want, and we'll get it prepared. He's gonna give us a speech when I finish reading this. So you really save some room on that phone. No, here we go. With Lieutenant James Allen Bledsoe, began his employment with the Spartanburg Public Safety Department, now Police Department, on September the 29th, 2000. Upon graduating and receiving dual certification from the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy and the South Carolina Fire Academy, he was assigned to the Uniform Patrol Division as a PSO. He patrolled primarily on the west side of town in what was known then as 20 Zone. After several years, he transitioned to the east side as Cop 57. In 2002, he completed the police motor operation training course and was certified as a motor officer with the department. Bledsoe is an avid rider, and the love for his motorcycle remains today. Allen continued in the Uniform Patrol Division and was later promoted to sergeant in 2007. After 5 years as the first line supervisor, he was promoted to the ranks of lieutenant. In the fall of 2013, he attended and graduated the Southern Police Institute 130th Administrative Officer course. This is an executive leadership course held at the University of Louisville in Kentucky. Shortly thereafter, in the early 2014s, he resigned and was hired to be the police chief of Woodruff, South Carolina. After 3 years, professionally challenged years, he returned, He returned to the Spartanburg Police Department and was assigned as the watch commander for Charlie Platoon 3rd Shift. In this role, Lieutenant Bledsoe's responsibility was supervising and mentoring the young officers. He understood the importance of how growth and development of the personnel is directly tied to the effectiveness of service rendered to our citizens. Thank you for that. Most recently, Lieutenant Bledsoe was assigned to the Support Services Bureau, where he worked to improve the courtroom preparation and procedures for officers, as well as implement a new framework surrounding juvenile transportation from DJJ in Columbia to the courts in Spartanburg. Thank you for that. Lieutenant Bledsoe is a military veteran. Thank you for your service. With several overseas deployment and for over 25 years, Lieutenant Bledsoe has shown his dedication to the law enforcement profession and his commitment to the city of Spartanburg and its citizens. Congratulations, Lieutenant James Allen Bledsoe, on your well-deserved retirement. Outstanding Service Award, Special Recognition, Lieutenant Allen Bledsoe for his dedication and commitment to the city of Spartanburg, 9/29/2000 to 1/23/2025. Thank you, sir. And you do have the opportunity to give us
I would like to say thank you for all the years of service. This department's been very good to me over the years. The city's been very good to me over the years. As Michelle and I talked about just the other day, it's a great place to work. Those of us that have been here for a long time will continue to talk about the city as a great place to work. Anybody that doesn't think it's a good place to be is obviously never worked anywhere else. So, thank you so much for the last 25 years. I told the chief in our conversation, I was very blessed to be able to come back after making that professionally challenging decision to go to Woodruff as the police chief. But it was very, very good to come home. So thank you so much. It was an honor to serve.
Thank you.
Can I get one too?
Ruth, get hers.
Thank you.
When you have these kind of, the number of years that, we're recognizing here, it definitely has to be a pretty good place to work. It has to be a pretty good place to work. Master Police Officer, Mr. Chris Taylor, come on down. Come on down with your phone. Master Police Officer Chris E. Taylor began his law enforcement career with the city of Spartanburg in February 1996 as a public safety officer with a dual responsibility, police officer and firefighter. He had previously served 10 years with the Spartanburg County Detention Facility, where he achieved the ranks of lieutenant. In January of 1997, he transferred to the Criminal Investigation Division, where he worked property crimes and was later primarily assigned to work violent crimes. He served in this capacity for 11 years. He then was assigned as an investigator with the Weed and Seed Program, a U.S. Department of Justice program that was developed to demonstrate and innovated a comprehensive law enforcement and community revitalization to prevent and control violent crimes, drug abuse, and gang activity. I do so remember the Weed and Seed program that we had over in the Highland area. Matter of fact, Mr. Chief, to you guys. In December 2014, Taylor returned to the Criminal Investigation Division and resumed work in violent crimes. While this assignment was exceedingly demanding, Chris finds satisfaction in solving crimes and assisting victims and survivors of violent crimes in the efforts to seek justice. In October of 2018, Taylor was recognized by solicitor Barry Burnett for his ability to solve violent crime cases and was the recipient of the 2018 Solicitor's Award for Spartanburg County. Law enforcement excellence. I have always admired Chris' tenacity, Solicitor Burnett said. He is a tireless worker who knows how to build a strong criminal case. It was also noted that some of Taylor's successes included the arrest and prosecution of 2 men responsible for the March 2017 shooting death of a local restaurant manager. Suspects in this case all received substantial prison terms. Taylor also worked the 215th murder of an individual who was found beaten and burned in the city. The suspect in the case received a life sentence for the crime. Taylor assisted with investigation and closures of cold cases, some dating back to the early 1970s. Thank you. In February 2022, Taylor was transferred to the Office of Professional Standards and Inspections, where he has been assisting with recruiting, hiring, and selection process. Thank you for that. His primary duties are conducting background investigation of police department candidates for both sworn and non-sworn positions. We are appreciative of the sacrifice MPO Christopher E. Taylor has made to enhance safety in our community and extend a heartfelt thanks and congratulations to all you have accomplished during your service. We also are thankful for his wife, who's present, and son, who has supported him throughout his career. We wish you the very best on your transition to retirement. Thank you, sir. City of Spartanburg, South Carolina Outstanding Service Award, special recognition to MPO Chris Taylor for his dedication and commitment to the City of Spartanburg. February the 2nd, 1996, January the 30th, 2025. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have the floor.
I just want to thank the citizens of Spartanburg for allowing me to serve them. I appreciate my family. They went through a lot with me. Those late nights out, call outs. I appreciate all the staff that I work with. I learned a lot from them. And it was a privilege, like I said, to serve the city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, when you recognize folks that have been in the business for those amount of years, we know it's not about the pay. It's really about the commitment to the citizens that they're serving in the place where they work. It's a culture that has been built over at the police station. So thank you, Chief, and your team, and thanks to the 2 retirees. All right, item 8, resolution. A resolution certifying the building as an abandoned building site pursuant to South.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm out.
Number 7.
Number 7, thank you. The City of Spartanburg, I see Martin getting up. City of Spartanburg Lead Hazard Control and Healthy Homes Initiative Update. Mr. Livingston, Community Development Director. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Staff is coming before you just to share a short presentation on the lead-based paint program, its history, and its success over the last couple of years. We have David Maha with us that will also help us with the presentation. We'll be doing most of them. The grant program started in 2019, and so we'll provide a short presentation on the program's successes and efforts. As part of the neighborhood services staff, we have several staff members, and I believe we have staff members in the audience. Will they please stand? Jamie Smith is one of our staff members, and then there are several others that are involved in the financial management as well as implementation of the programs. And now I'll turn it over to David, and David will talk a little bit about the programs and successes.
Thank you. Well, again, good evening, everyone. Honorable Mayor, esteemed council, members of the city. It's great to see you. Believe it or not, my anniversary was January 10th, so it's been 5 years that we've worked on this program. So somehow I've gotten away with the 5 years that I've spent in Martin's area, but hopefully that'll be longer. You first see those that are involved. We've got the second one. So we've got, these are basically what we looked for the people who we were going to work with. They had an eligible property was built before 1978. They could be an owner, they could be a renter. We did have one case where we did have one family who we did 4 houses for that had rental houses that we did. Of course, very important, we tested the children for lead that were in the house. Either they would go out. We had a lot of partners in the fact that we had Regenesis, Piedmont. They helped us out a lot of times. We'd be able to get the children tested. One of the important things there is you might have questions about is what is an assessment. So we actually did a procurement for a company to be a third party that actually had the equipment, which is basically a cobalt X-ray machine that's able to test through wood for lead particles being in that wood. They're called Crossroads Environmental. They're located here in Spartanburg. They are actually a woman-owned company, and they basically were the company that did all of our inspections, which would total 50 inspections. They do a test before, which gives us a full outline of everything that was done in the house. They do every possible component. You think about it, they do it. Woodworks, windows, floors, walls. And then in the end, what's even more important is they come back and they retest the house for all of the work that we were supposed to have done in that house to make sure that that work was done, okay? So that's an important part of that conducting a risk. As you know, there's income requirements from 1 person in the house up to 8 people in the house. A healthy homes assessment, that's like doing a home inspection. So we would actually physically do a home inspection of the house for the person who was going to be able to get the lead, because part of the program was 2 components. One component was money for the lead, and the other component was to try to make the home healthier. So in the fact of doing the lead, which of course makes the home healthier, we found other things. There could be mold, there could be bad plumbing. There were many, many items, many that actually were out of the scope of the lead. So that was very important. As a matter of fact, in a binder I put together for you, I've included what the healthy home assessment would be. Temporary location, we actually had 3 families out of the 35 that we set them up to be able to live outside of the situation. And it was great that we got the residents in over near Cracker Barrel, and we would get them the full apartment, which would be 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. A lot of these people only had 1 bath in their house, and they say, we really don't want to leave the hotel because we've got 2 bathrooms, you know. So 3 of the families of the houses we did. Additional repairs a lot of times happen to be situations where we had 2 situations, actually. We had to put a roof on that was the original roof on a house on Irwin Street over in Hampton Heights, and the cost of the roof was $40,000. But the owner put in $7,400 of that for us so that he'd be able to meet the program. Another woman over in the Hillcrest area, she also wanted all of her windows done, and we only had enough money to do some, so she was able to put in $2,600 towards her own windows. So in a lot of cases, the people actually put in the skin in the game for them to be able to get the project to its total fruition. Okay. So we started out with $1,299,994. There was just a little error made. Somebody flipped my 9 to a 6 there where it says Healthy Homes Repair Supplement. We expended $894,375 for the lead. We did $179,987 for the Healthy Homes. The city's match. Now, in a lot of cases with grants like this, they ask whatever particular municipality is working on it to give something. It's not always just the government giving to us, we've got to give back. In our case, we used a lot of another CDBG fund to be able to add additional funds. Originally, it was $20,000 for a lead and only $5,000 for the Healthy Homes. And then along the way, they found out they needed to invest more money in the lead part, so they upped that to 30, but they kept the $5,000 the same. So many times, neighborhood services would put anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 more into that pot to be able to get the work done that needed to be to be able to get done. So that's how we came up with putting in $155,000 towards the project. The $225,000 unobligated is basically, the main reason for it is that the Healthy Homes was so low, we didn't have to use up as much of that. If at 35 or 40 houses, you only put in $5,000. So that's where it got us to 179, but there was still $225,000 pretty much left in the Healthy Homes part. So wouldn't you know, after the grant is over, they upped that to $15,000, and they also went to $30,000 on the lead. So this is really where the stats are for those 5 years. From 2020 to 2021, those 2 years, only 5 houses were completed. But from 22 to 24, 30 houses were completed. Of course, times had changed, situations had changed, okay? We had 26 children under 6 that were visiting the households we did, but we had 28 children that were full-time occupants in the house. This is the one that I really enjoy the most. 24 of those houses had seniors who were over 62. And in most cases, they were a single senior in that house. And they also were getting some of this work done that they've never had. In a lot of cases, it was HVAC systems that they've never had. If this house was 40 or 50 or 60 years old, they had never seen anything like this in their house. They basically had window units for air conditioning and probably some kind of space heater. So we had 50 units that were completely inspected for lead. We had 35 that had the full scope of work, and of course the difference is 15, and we actually found through approved people that 15 people didn't really have lead that we could work on. There was a minimum standard for us to be able to invest money into the house. So we did 204 windows, all brand new Pella, high energy. 16 homes got all vinyl siding, and when we do the vinyl siding, we have to cover the lead that's on the outside of the wood. So you put you've probably seen either Home Depot or Lowe's Tyvek paper. So they'd staple Tyvek paper, they put a 1/2-inch insulation on top of that, and then on top of that is what they put the vinyl siding on. And we actually have to mark the Tyvek paper, so if anybody ever took that siding off, it would actually tell them that there's lead underneath that paper. So you have to actually distinguish the fact that you did a lead house. There again, we have 8 completely new HVAC systems, and 2 others got full duct work. 7 of the houses had full tear-off roof of new paper 30-year shingles, gutters, downspouts, high efficiency, a lot of water heaters. Basically, when we go in, we try and do as much of the work as we possibly could for the people that's involved. And the one that's not showing, which is kind of really important, because much of this was in the historic district. 3 of the houses that we did got full paint redone, which means all the lead was sanded, or actually scraped, can't be sanded. It was then covered with what we call encapsulate, which encapsulate is kind of like a Kills, if you know what that is. It's kind of thick and gooey, and that goes over the lead paint, so it can't, if lead doesn't get air, it doesn't deteriorate. And then over that, we put 2 coats of paint, and I think we've got one of those pictures actually in the package that you have. So with our great new JS people that are working in IT, they've put together a map so you can see where all the houses were done. Finally, Councilman, we finally got to do a couple in Hillcrest. There's one you can see, and the other one, the dot's not showing up. It's at the very end. It's at Hillbrook. Basically, you can see most of those are in the center core of the city. We did do 7 houses in the historic zone in Hampton Heights, but I'm very displeased at the fact that we never got a call from Beaumont Village, and we never got any calls from Converse Heights for whatever reason. So I would have liked to have done some work, especially in those especially in the Beaumont historic area. Okay, that was Picnic. So here is a house on Picnic Court, which is a house in Hampton Heights. That's what it looked like originally. This is what it looked like when we were done. This is a case of a house being completely repainted. It's one of 4 cinder block houses that are still left in that particular area. Of course, we couldn't do pretty much anything but paint, so it was scraped, and then in this case, it was given the encapsulate and then 2 coats of the paint. I think this was great colors. I think looks a lot like the programs you see nowadays with something different than a normal color. The lady that was there picked the yellow. She picked the green, and the house really stands out really well. A lot of work was done on the inside of this house. She had very bad leaks around the chimney. She had a hot water tank, a gas one that was over 35 years old. It was actually dangerous. This is Alexander. This isn't the worst of this house. This house actually had a tree in the tornado fall in the back of it, and it had crushed in the laundry and the kitchen. So when we worked on this house, the lady that owned it, whose daughter was living in it, she was getting ready to be cited by property maintenance. And she went out and had paid to have the tree taken down in the back so that we could then do the work to do the house. And we're very pleased and proud to show you what it looks like now. Wow. So that's 2 of the 35 that we did. And then I'll turn it back to Martin, and what I will leave for you is a whole binder with all of the houses, with all of what we did for them, and how much we spent on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you can tell from David's conversation, he's very passionate about the program. We're very lucky to have him. Actually, Mitch found him and sent him our way, and interviewed him for one other department, and he joined our department, and he's been a blessing. I tell folks he's like Wanda Logan 2.0. If you know Wanda Logan, she's very passionate about the work, and she does a really good job with homeowners and making repairs, and David has done a good job with that. We did want to let you know about the other programs that are provided through the Neighborhood Services Program that assists with housing repairs. That's the ARPA program that we just started sometime last year. David is working with the NDG, Northside Development Group, to assist in the partnership with that program, getting that program up and running. Rebuilding Spartanburg, it was formerly Christmas in Action. They rebranded, and we've been working with them on improving their program. They now have a very successful program, and they produce at least 10 to 12 repairs a year for seniors in the city of Spartanburg. We partnered with Rebuilding Spartanburg to create an HVAC program that was started sometime after COVID, where we learned that you can actually assist seniors with installing the HVAC systems. They allowed us to use COVID funding for that program, and then we extended it to CDBG. And so we've been doing that program. The combined, since July 1st of this year, combined rebuilding Spartanburg and city HVAC program, we've helped at least 16 persons, 16 households. We probably will be helping more before June 30th. And then we have a new program that we're expecting word from the South Carolina State Housing Finance and Development Authority. We're hoping that they'll let us know within the next week or two, a disaster assistance program that allow us to remove trees from the property and repair roofs. And we're hoping to do about 35, 40 of those over the next 18 months. They're limited our time frame to get that project done. And David will be leading that project as well as other staff members. These programs meet several city goals, including the comprehensive plan elements that you see here, the housing element, the community resiliency, the economic development element, where a lot of the contractors that we work with are small businesses, the city HUD consolidated plan housing goals, as well as the neighborhood transformation plans for many of the neighborhoods. And I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions of Martin?
First, I just want to say thank you to both of you, because I have seen the action that has occurred with the program, and I appreciate that. I think on the last one, the DAP, that is a program that is very, very needed. It's just been a horrendous experience with Helene, so all the help that given will certainly be taken. And I want to ask, what is the full participation from the neighborhoods?
How do you mean that, Councilwoman Sally?
In other words, how many neighbors or citizens have utilized the program?
The new hurricane?
No, the overall program with
The lead.
Oh, well, we had, we worked on 50 houses, like at least got so I would say, and then probably there was another 15 to 20. I would say there was in excess of 75 people who actually were interested in the program. That we either touched, did something, showed their interest. You know, I was certified to be an inspector, and sometimes I would go in and tell them they were more worried about something that really didn't exist, and that we might be able to help them more with Christmas in Action or something to that effect, that they wouldn't have to go through the, you know, a lot of times there were many that didn't have children younger than 6 that were coming to the house, even to visit. So of course they'd say, well, you're supposed to be gonna let us not get anything. So that's where we would try and find something else for them to be able to utilize as a program. Because most times when they call, they had something that needed to be done. It's just that which way we could help them the best with what fit we could make.
The last question I'm going to ask is, if you go in and you do take care of the responsibility of something at hand with the lead, or with the other programs with the seniors, and is there a minimum funding? I know there is a minimum funding, but can they come back and get remaining funding to take care of their repairs?
So it depends on the program. With the HVAC program, they certainly can come back. It depends on Christmas in Action, because that program is run by Rebuilding Spartanburg, which is rebranded. I got to remember that. But we limit all the repairs total up to about $30,000 for each household. So if we help them with GHVC and Rebuilding Spartanburg, and they wanted to get ARPA funds, they can get, let's say they spent $15,000 on the other 2 programs, they can get another $15,000 in repairs through the ARPA program.
And I know you all have done a real good job in putting this out. It's just getting citizens to actually look into it, because I know they're not.
We do have a long waiting list for the ARPA program, so we're hoping we can get started on that program.
Mr. Mayor, the lead program, was that through HUD?
It was through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Yes.
And the DAP, you said that's through the state?
That is through the state, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
David, thank you both for your presentation and all you do. I'm, like Janie, particularly excited about the senior program. You know, a lot of these seniors are on fixed income and they've been in these homes for 30, 40, 50 years and, you know, getting $700 a month in Social Security, it doesn't afford them an opportunity to get much needed repairs to make their homes safe to live in. The last time you came to us, David, you had mentioned that there would be, you know, depending on the success of this program, the potential for a renewal of that grant. I assume that is on freeze, on hold, like everything else in this country right now. So I'm just wondering if there is an opportunity, and is there an opportunity?
So yes, there's an opportunity. If there's another lead-based paint grant offered this year, we will be applying for it. We did get a final score on this program afterwards, and it was in the successful range. But we're hoping we'll be successful with the next application. Applications typically come out in July or August. So we're hoping that with the next round that we'll be applying to get funding.
Awesome. Good, good. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Chris, I got a call, I mean, not Chris, Martin. I got a call today from someone, her neighbor had 2 trees to fall in her driveway, blocking her driveway from the rear end of her house. And she cannot use her driveway from the rear. And she wanted to know what she should do about that. And I told her that I was going to get with you or Jay. Who should I put her in touch with, you or Jay, about that?
If it's on private property, she can call us. We'll hopefully, again, we'll start that program soon. But that program allows us to remove trees from the entire property. If we can grab a neighbor's tree that's coming over on the other side of the property, we'll try to do that as well. So far, we haven't heard of any restrictions regarding the program. It's designed to assist homeowners. So unfortunately, we don't have a program for renters yet, but homeowners can take advantage of the disaster assistance program.
Good.
So
Okay, now the
our
neighbor
number is
that-
on the screen, and they can give us a call.
Okay, now she is a homeowner, but the person that is renting the house next door is a tenant. So it doesn't matter because she can still contact
Give us
you.
a call and we'll figure it out.
Okay, all right.
Awesome.
So, Mr. Mayor, so Martin, just so I'm clear, through this series of programs, we've obviously leveraged federal and state grants. And if I heard you right, the city's investment is about $155,000, and that money came from its CDBG funds. So, okay, so that's a really effective use of those funds, and the leverage of those is a force multiplier.
Definitely, that's a win-win. David, thanks for your presentation. We do so enjoy your passion and appreciate your passion for what you're doing for our citizens here in the city of Spartanburg, and especially when you tell us that we've helped, upwards of 75 people, and a good many of them are seniors that are over 62. So again, thank you for your efforts, and Martin, thank you for your team and all you guys do. Thanks a lot. All right, we have a resolution now, item 8, a resolution to certify a building as an abandoned building site pursuant to the South Carolina Abandoned Building Revitalization Act, Title 12, Chapter 67, Section 12-67-100, and South Carolina Code of Laws 1976 as amended regarding the property located at 153 Oakwood Avenue, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Mr. Kohler, City Attorney.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. This resolution before you is a request for you to certify the site as an abandoned building site to qualify or allow the developer to qualify for some state income taxes upon development. If you'll recall, you've done a few of these before. The abandoned buildings tax credit works like this. The developer asks the city to certify the building as abandoned. We have done that in this case. If and when they develop the property, they are able to tap into some state income tax credits. This property is on Oakwood, 153. Just to orient you, going out East Main, you turn left on Avon Street. There's a fairly new development there with a lot of townhomes. The developer, Brian DeBruin, is working on a development that will be adjacent to those on Avant Street. I think that's called Converse at Towns. And then this is a small parcel that's across the street from that. It's sort of the corner of Oakwood and Garrett Street. It's an old, looks like an old office building of some sort. It hasn't been in business since December, or since 2007, according to our business license department.
Pediatrician's office.
That's right. So what they will do is qualify, if we certify it as abandoned, that will enable them to develop. The plan's not very far along, but staff has looked at it. I've looked at it along with some of our planning folks. It is approximately 21 townhomes on the site. There are some initial drawings and some sketches, but the developer wasn't comfortable sharing those yet. But we are confident and satisfied that with this developer and with the plan, that if it gets certified, it would likely go forward in all likelihood. So before you is the request to certify the building as abandoned. It clearly meets the definition of the statute, and I'm glad to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Brown.
So we're certifying the old pediatric office, the building itself,
That's correct.
Yeah.
but we don't know, or he's not
Some
comfortable
initial-
sharing yet for that particular building?
Correct.
Okay.
But I can tell you approximately 21 townhomes with a drive.
Any other questions?
Bob,
Yes.
I don't have a question, but I have a statement. As you know, I like to drive around.
You don't have to tell us.
Before. So Sunday after church, I was going by memory. I went to Oakland, and I was going up and down that street, and I said, where is this property? I don't see it. And I came here tonight and I said to Jerome, I tried to find that and I couldn't find it, because he said roof is Oakwood, not Oakland. So I was going by memory.
Well, I hope we didn't give you bad information that misled you, but.
No, I just didn't carry my notes with me. I was going by memory.
Did you see any buildings that would qualify under this?
On Oakland.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution as stated.
Second.
That's great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any that oppose? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 9, staff updates. Mr. Story.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be brief tonight, and certainly will address any questions you have. As has been my practice since Hurricane Helene, I'll comment first on hurricane recovery efforts, and debris removal continues, still running a number of crews today. I believe it was 7 on 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, doing debris removal. We're up to about 250-some thousand cubic yards of debris that has been removed and processed. We're at the point now that we encourage folks to communicate with us if there are unaddressed issues. There are some cases where you have, for example, stumps and root balls and things of that nature that are larger than the scope of the default equipment that might be left behind, that we're continuing to round those up. And of course, as we dedicated more manpower to moving the larger trees over the past several months, we are relative to most winters behind on leaf and other yard waste issues, but we're catching up on that front. So just wanted to make those two comments about
Chris,
debris work.
who do we let know?
Our Public Works Department, the 596-3690, and just make a note of that. Or, of course, people can communicate through our app or our website about any questions.
And Chris, to that point, I know that there are times where I get calls, and I'm sure everybody else gets calls, concerned citizens, that at some point the work is going to stop and leave them behind.
Right.
That is not the case. The work will continue till the work is complete.
Absolutely, and we are still full steam ahead. We're still working in 100% FEMA reimbursement. We're still marshaling all the contract labor and equipment we can bring to the community. As we get closer to the end, and we're not at that point yet, but as we get closer to the end, we will be doing windshield surveys to make sure we caught it all and that type of thing. We'll be communicating outwardly to the community that we're preparing for a last pass.
And then some of these areas, and I think about, there's some in Commerce Heights that come to mind, but there are others all across, at least my district, and I'm sure town, I know across town, that need like some aesthetic cleanup.
Yeah.
Like, where there's just stuff still on the ground that is beyond the debris of the storm. Well, I guess it is storm debris technically, but it's not like a tree falling, but it's, a pole that's still sitting there and stuff like that. I mean, is that, just part of the same scope of work?
And we are working on city-owned properties and right-of-ways that are not directly affecting vehicle travel. So some of those issues are getting cleaned up that we've bypassed a number of times previously because we've gotten a little bit deeper into the process. But yes, sir, there are a number of smaller items on city-owned properties that we continue to work through. And certainly we'll probably be working through that process for more months into the spring as well.
And then some of the, like, the more aesthetic, like street lights that were damaged that we've triaged with, hanging lights and things like that. I mean, that all will be addressed over time?
Yes, and we have inventory of those type of issues, and we're not, of course, we wouldn't contend our inventory is perfect. So if folks are concerned that, that we're unaware of a need like that they see, it is never inappropriate to use one of those communication channels to make sure it's on the radar.
Chris, and you made mention about the communication channels with the website that we can go online, or our citizens here can go online, put it in, and we're still monitoring that, as
Yes,
we
sir.
stated when we
Yes, sir.
brought it up. So just so that everyone hears that loud and clear. They may report it to a council person or to the mayor, but also if they would go online and report it personally, and we can actually see it real time and get to it.
Our personal favorite, staff's favorite, people should communicate with us any way that they would like, but one of the benefits of utilizing the app is it geocodes us to an exact spot.
Yeah.
Which makes sure that there's no confusion about which address and that kind of thing. Drops a pin on a map for us.
Chris, have we received any reimbursement from FEMA, or does that not come yet?
We've been in, I don't know that we have received checks, but we have been in constant communication with them, and have been acting at their specific direction on aspects of that, and we have no reason to believe that there's any communication issue or problem with that.
The
But we
the FEMA office is no longer at C.C. Woodson. It is finally.
They shut down operations last week.
And so, but as, the FEMA question leads me to my next item about, we are actively monitoring, and of course, if anybody's seen any media today's been actively looking at various information channels to understand the impact of the delays or shutdowns or interruptions in federal funding. At this point, as has been our practice to draw down, it's always been our practice to draw down any grant funding for which we are eligible at the point at which we can do that. So we're in a wait and see mode to see if there's going to be any direct impact in any of our organization's activities. We certainly hope not. But if it is, it'd be a matter of timing.
And we're in communication with our federal delegation on that?
I haven't had any direct communication with Congressman's office or anything of that nature, but digesting information from a number of sources. And I think things are becoming clear, or became somewhat clearer throughout the day as additional guidance came out of Washington. Hopeful of no interruption of any of our activities or operations. So, I wanted to highlight, and certainly happy to take questions, but I want to quickly highlight two little positive activities that I wanted to bring to your attention. One is Daniel Holloman in our Parks and Recreation Department was recognized this week by the National Recreation and Parks Association as one of their 30 under 30 professionals from across the United States that are making a meaningful difference in the delivery of parks and recreation services across the country. It's a neat profile that I'll share with you, but I just wanted to call that to your attention. And even though I didn't give him any fair warning, if you've got one more minute, I'd like to ask Officer Patan to tell you what he and others were up to Saturday morning.
I was gonna make mention of it, so you steal my show. Come on up, Patan.
Can you give us 30 or 45 seconds on Saturday?
Absolutely. Good evening. So on this past Saturday, at C.C. Woodson, the Spartanburg Police Activities League hosted Building Bridges with Law Enforcement. So we had 145 youth from around the city, from different mentoring groups and school groups to come over. We exposed them to both sworn and non-sworn areas in law enforcement, just hopefully to promote them to what they could possibly be in the future. And it was a great turnout. So
Some of the vendors there,
well,
not vendors, but the tables set up.
So Connect was there from Spartanburg County Foundation. We had the Child Advocacy Center, Dispatch, Spartanburg County Dispatch was there, Forensics. We had our OPSI and hiring process. The Fire Department Arsons Division was there, along with our CID. So they were in the gym in one session. We also had Judge Moss brought over. She had 2 defense attorneys and 2 people from the solicitor's office and a judge, so they got to see the back and forth between them, and they were very engaging with the young people while they were there on this past Saturday. Great event.
And who else was there in president attendance?
Mayor Rice was there.
Great program, really. Thank you.
I just love to shine a light on that because that's the kind of thing that a lot of police departments don't do, frankly. Right. And I'm proud of our guys that do it on their own initiative.
Yeah,
like that.
on their own time.
So, any questions I can address for council?
Awesome. Thank you. Councilwoman Sally, city updates, city council update.
Council, good evening, citizens, staff. Thank you. First, I want you to say thank you to Kathy Hill and her staff and the city of Spartanburg for the MLK Recognition Week, and for those who helped sponsor Ruby Bridges here to share her story. Also, I want to say congratulations to Officer Bledsoe and Taylor, even though they're not here. They're celebrating before time. And lastly, I want to say I have 2 announcements. The first one is Saturday, February the 1st, and that's Partners for Active Living annual fish, fry, and oyster fundraiser at the freight yard to benefit the trails. So I would love to see all of you and family, at the freight yard on Saturday from 12 o'clock. And then at Wofford College, we're going to be celebrating Black History Month, which will start on February the 1st. And it will start off with Cecil Williams, and I don't know how many of you know Cecil Williams, but he is a photographer. He is from my hometown, Orangeburg, South Carolina, and he captured the moment of the civil rights movement down at South Carolina State College and all through the years of the civil rights movement. He is going to be here on February 3rd at the Olin Theater at 6 p.m. It is free to the public, and you're all invited to witness his words of, for the lack of, just witness him on what he's going to say. He's also will have his book called The Injustice Focus, the Civil Rights Photography of Cecil Williams for sale, and would love to see you there.
Awesome.
And
Thank you for coming.
Councilwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chris already alluded to the pausing of federal funds today, and I've been really completely distraught and disturbed over the last several days over what's been coming out of the new administration. We've had World Relief, our partners here before. There are many refugees that live in the district that I represent. These are individuals that our government has legally brought to our country, and on Friday they ended all funding to support refugees that are already here. The government supports them for their first 90 days, helping to provide for housing, transportation, basic life services, and now these are people that live in our city and our community that have been abandoned by their new government. And then today, we've turned our back on our promises that we've already made through our budgeting process to our city, to organizations like the Spartanburg Academic Movement. Last week, Ruth shared about the exciting news about the Promise Neighborhood grant that we received to support the South Side. That is now on pause, along with every other loan and grant. And there's been so much confusion today from all sorts of partners when we think about PAL and the RAISE grant and the Saluda Grade Trail. That everything's thrown up in the air. Councilman Fulmer mentioned our federal delegation. I talked with our congressman today. They were not given any sort of heads up or information about this. And I just can't believe that. I'm just incredulous right now that of where we're going. And we've talked, the last several weeks about MLK's beloved community and what it means to take care of each other and to create that sense of community. And I think we're going to be called upon as a city and individuals and a staff to show up courageously in these spaces to stand in the gap for people when they have had the federal government turn their back on them. I'm proud of who we are as a city. I'm proud of our commitments to equity, to diversity, to including all sorts of different voices and types of people in our decision making. And I believe that this council still stands by those, and we have your back as constituents and as staff as we move forward in these uncertain times. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Fulmer.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I want to congratulate Daniel Holloman on his recognition. That's exciting for him, and exciting recognition for Spartanburg. Also want to commend Lieutenant Bledsoe and MPO Taylor on their years of service and thank them and wish them all the best in retirement. And then also, as I seem to want to do every time each time in the year at this point, commend Kathy Hill and their team and groups of volunteers that put on the Unity Week celebrations. I had the opportunity to attend a number of them, including your breakfast and the event at the auditorium, and they were extremely well done and very meaningful. And congratulate our award winners, especially Justice Beatty, and then also McCracken's Trad Hodge, who's a fine young man who won the first youth philanthropist award, and that's well deserved. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilwoman Littlejohn.
Yeah, Councilwoman Sally, Cecil Williams were down at Claflin when I was down there, and I saw him back in November, and he looks the same. I would love to have the PO he's taking, because he hasn't changed at all. I would like to see the retirees, because when people are retiring and they come up here, I would like to see at least the wife come with them. My husband was in the Air Force, and he retired after 21 years. And the spouse was always standing by the retiree, when they retired. Because sometimes the family, because that spouse, because she endures a lot, when that person is on duty. And I would love to see the spouse come and stand by the person that's retiring. I sent out my newsletter today to about 1,100 people, and about 125 came back. They were blocked from the county and the city, and there's a glitch because someplace, Christopher was going to report it in the city, because in the county was going to report it. So if you didn't get it and you want to see a copy, go online, and I am grateful to Christopher for putting the link online now. So you can go onto the city website, because you can click on that, because you can see it. Okay, Jess is the one. Okay, and then I want to thank my husband and congratulate my husband, Horace, for enduring 50 years of marriage as of Saturday.
This past Saturday?
Saturday passed, and just to think, some said, I mean, you go, when we first got married, because some said, oh, it's not gonna last. So, and here it is 50 years later, so I'm grateful to Horace. Thank you.
Awesome. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, thank you all for being here. Really enjoyed all the MLK events. I hated that Miles with the Mayor had gotten, canceled. I was ready to get some steps in that morning, but unfortunately Rain had other plans for that. But, congratulations and thank you so much to Kathy and her team for putting on a great week of events. It was actually just kind of surreal to be sitting eye level with Ruby Bridges and just hearing her story. One of the things that really has been seethed in me was her comment about racism being an adult disease and how we have to do better. It's not the internet, it is part of it, but what these children and where we are today and some of the things that I hear coming out of young people and their comments, it's coming from the home. And so we have got to do better. I don't know where to begin, given where we are right now, but I have hope. And if there's one thing that she said, we have to hold on to hope and continue to do the work, the hard work, and stand up for what's right. Congratulations to Lieutenant Bledsoe and MPO Taylor on incredible years of service for the city. We really appreciate all you've done for us and keeping our communities safe. Sitting here watching them, with the retirement announcement made me think, and this is something, perhaps we all need to be thinking about. I see these officers that are retiring and I'm like, are we replenishing these officers as well? We have a new baseball stadium coming in April. With that comes a lot more people, a lot more traffic, a lot more foot traffic. I assume sometimes a lot of more people with bad intentions and criminal behavior sometimes. And so I hope that we are thinking about how we are going to be supporting our police department for future growth. I would love to hear from the chief in terms of numbers of where we are, where we're short, and along with that comes talking salaries again. I know, Jamie, you've mentioned before how it's important for us to sort of not kick the can down the road and catch up each and every time, and we want to stay competitive with other communities our size. So I hope that that's something that we're looking at. I would love to get an update about where we are with our officers and that sort of thing, just to make sure that we have, that we're not burning out our officers. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the MLK week celebration, and of course Ruby Bridges. Having her here was just incredible to have an opportunity to speak and talk with her just a little. But it was the good versus evil. Don't always put a color on it, but it's good versus evil. That really stands out for me. Again, congratulations to Lieutenant Bledsoe and MPO Chris Taylor for their years of service. Outstanding event this past Saturday. I did want to mention that, but I'm glad Officer Patan covered it, 140 or so young people there, really did something for me Saturday. To see them coming out on a Saturday and just participate in a program when their day is off. It said that I told them that they were winners. You winning when you come out to events like that. They were all winners that day. Glad you mentioned Black History Program at Walford and Bow Tie Tuesday. If you look around, you'll see a few officers there with the bow ties on, Major Little John, Jamie Nelson, and again, Officer Smith, and Officer Patan. They do it periodically. It's not quite every Tuesday. I try to catch up with them when I can. But today they went over to the animal shelter, did a program with them. They were actually on the news with the pets, holding pets to encourage adoption. And the pets had on bow ties as well. So, Art, you just don't know how much you look like that little puppy you were holding. I know Art very well, so he didn't take offense to that. Congratulations, Councilwoman Littlejohn. One thing we say at church, and we recognize every month when people are celebrating wedding anniversaries, we always like to make sure we tell them that's 50 years strong. So that's amazing. It's not just you and Horace, but someone else was in that mix to make sure you guys stayed that long. So that, of course, was great.
Start over for anything.
I'm sure you would not. I'm sure you would not. You guys all know I'm a big team guy, big football guy. I put a call in to the mayor of Philly to let her know I would be up to celebrate when Philadelphia win the Super Bowl. You all have a great day. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to move into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any that opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
I should have said I'd make a motion we hurriedly move into.
I'm rooting for them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.